Hello, I'm Mike Ryan. I'm the Chief Networking Officer at PIMS, and welcome to our second season of Minutes with Mike. Now in my 33rd year at PIMS, I've had the privilege of partnering with companies both large and small, supporting their PR and marketing through customized fulfillment and distribution that delivers measurable impact on their brand perception, boosts positive affinity, and fuels their overall brand performance. And throughout my career, I've had the chance to work alongside many talented folks. This is their story. On this show, we'll sit down with some of the world's top marketing and business thought leaders to learn more about their success, how they got there, how marketing helped them achieve their goals, what strategies they used, and what inspires them. Please join me on this journey as we learn from those who are changing the way we think about business. So sit back, enjoy. You're listening to Minutes with Mike. Welcome to Minutes with Mike. I have my very special guest, Iryna Kremin. Welcome to Minutes with Mike.
Thank you for inviting me. Minutes with
Look
Mike.
at that. I love it. I love it. She's got the shirt, the mug. We got all the swag going. Beautiful. Love it. Really appreciate it. We're going to dive right in, jump right in, because I want to pick your brain. I met Iryna at INNOCOS, which is her fantastic event that she has. I met her at the one that she had at San Diego, but I did meet her without meeting her. David Silbergleit had gone to an event a couple of years ago and came back to PIMS invigorated, excited, energized, and was telling everybody who would listen about the wonderful woman and this event and all the people that he had met and all the great things he had. So when we started doing Minutes with Mike, of course, we thought of her and wanted to bring her on. Iryna, welcome. Tell us a little bit about what INNOCOS Summit is, how it started, and where you came up with the wonderful idea.
Well, thank you for inviting me. First, shout out to David Silbergleit. He is our favorite person. He has it all what we like.
Yes.
He is very passionate about what he does. He is hardworking. He's very committed to his client. And at the same time, he's really nice human being and fun person to be around.
I feel his head as he watches is getting bigger and bigger.
This is who we like. These are our INNOCOS people. Now, back to me. How I started. First of all, like in my life, I like three things, I would say. I like people. I love interesting people, meeting interesting people. And I like to learn. And I like to have fun. And all these three elements are combined into the one brand which called INNOCOS. So this is how I started. I like to go to the conferences. I like been event junkie for years, let's say. And I found that sometimes going to the conference can be a little bit stressful. You know, you come into the room, you're a little bit like outsider, you're trying to fit in different groups and things like that. And I just wanted to do a creative event which I would like to attend, you know, where the people will welcome me like in a family, where we can spend time together to hang out, not just like come and go through, because sometimes you go to the conference, you have like amazing speaker, you invested in order to go to see the speakers, and then you standing next to the stage trying to get a few minutes with him or her, and then she's gone.
Right.
So it's like yes, the quality time with interesting people, learning and having fun. This is what, you know, this is what gives me joy. And this is why I have created this brand.
You know, the cosmetic, personal care, fragrance world, beauty, wellness, there are a lot of different events. I attend some of them as well. And they all focus on primarily different things that are going on in our world and ways that we can adapt in their learning experiences. But what do you think sets INNOCOS aside? What is the big separator between the INNOCOS event and other events that people might attend?
I would say diversity. I really like to have like a very interesting, diverse group in terms of the industries, in terms of the big size of the companies, different cultures and things like that. Then you have a really interesting conversations, right? And I think that the special things about INNOCOS, it's all these special people who like to learn, who don't afraid to share, who are open, who many of them like to travel and just value the good quality connections, right? And have fun.
How do you acquire the people, not only that will be attending, but the speakers themselves? I know they're one and the same because most of, not all the people that speak are also attendees. But, when I went, Dave had told me in advance that I was going to meet all these interesting people from all different aspects, as you said, different landscapes, diverse, and certainly different verticals that they come from. But I was most intrigued with the fact that I would sit and listen to these speakers. And as I'm sitting, I'm surrounded on one side by, the higher ups of large conglomerates, VPs of marketing and such, CEOs, that type thing. And on the other side, I'm welcomed with a person that has one or two people to accompany that they're just getting started, a beauty brand, wellness brand, that they're coming there to learn from the people that have done it before and help them adapt to what's next in their world. How do you acquire or connect with the right professionals to be speakers at these events, to attend these events? How do you expand on the attendees that come to these events?
Yeah, and let me add, these amazing speakers, they're staying for whole day. When I inviting speakers, I said that we don't come and go, we stay for the whole 2 days. And this is why it's so special. Where I find, first of all, let me tell you, I'm event junkie, if you didn't understand it yet. And I'm go to like whole events. I've been in all of them, let's say big, small, different sizes, different target audience and things like that. And of course, the best way is to hear somebody, right? You hear many speakers and you find one or two who you really particularly like. I choose the speakers also for the energy they project. There is like, it doesn't have to be like super professional speaker, but it has like sense of humor and energy and interesting case study. Then I'm just like go and approach them. And yeah, I'm working hard to find them. I approach many and sometimes not all of them can make it immediately. They could make it maybe next year and things like that. But this is one source. Another source, of course, because we have so little hours during the day. And, like conferences are all about innovations. And in order to find out new innovations, you need to look at news. I read some newsletters. My go-to is Beauty Matter newsletter, which is like amazing. I really like the articles, the depth, and just reading this newsletter, I think it can be enough. But I read a few others. And yeah, this is why I find the interesting brands. And then I'm just like go on LinkedIn, approach them like different ways and trying to ask my network if they can introduce me. So like I work very hard to get the best speakers. And when I look in right now on the list of speakers for Napa Valley, I have like goosebumps. There is so many interesting people. I can't wait. And they are amazing, really.
Yeah, and again, coming from such a diverse background, they really bring to the table all the information that you're hoping to gain, all the transactional feedback that you're getting from them, being able to, certainly ask these questions of these people in this type of a setting really, really encourages the people to be part of it, not just sort of listen, but to be a part of it. In your world, you are an entrepreneur as well, right? You wear many hats within INNOCOS. You are a hostess, you are the event planner, you are the person that makes everybody sort of intrigued to begin the next form of conversation. You are the spirit behind it. Tell me, like, as this started, it didn't happen overnight. It wasn't easy. Tell me of some of the speed bumps and issues you had along the way to get INNOCOS off the ground and where it came from and where it's headed.
Yes, I had experience with organizing events, of course, but not in the beauty industry. It's this beauty industry came out just from the research as very interesting industry because it's industry with a very short innovation cycle. It's industry where the marketing is so important and the industry which is so competitive. And I find it very, very interesting. But once I started doing events with a small group of people from my ex-work, actually, we didn't realize how hard it will be to build a network, because when you go so deep and so narrow in the niche, you need to build your reputations. And I worked hard to earn these reputations. By one conference, by another conference, I'm trying to do the best programs, the most interesting speakers. And from the first conference, it's been quite successful, but it took many years in order to to build this company and to find your specific style, right? Because when like we all have to have this USP in order to be different. There are so many conferences out there, and you are, you're not visible in the sea of conferences if you don't have this special USP. And of course, I had my idea when I started conference, what kind of event I want to have. But interesting thing that when I started, I was not necessarily doing so many things different like other events. I just tried to start with a good basic, building network, brick by brick, let's say. And only slowly, after a couple of years, I sort of like find what the people like the most. I speak with the clients all the time. I was like desperately asking at every conference, tell me what you like, but especially what we can improve. And I had this long list of things we can do better. And every year after year and another year, and this list did not get any shorter. And I'm thinking like, God, how come? But I was really very committed, to do the best event I can. And slowly I find my sort of unique sales proposition, right?
And what would you say, again, wearing that entrepreneur hat and knowing that along the way there are these pitfalls and, dead ends and a lot of people saying no or a lot of people saying maybe, and, you have to be aggressive and you have to know when to push and when not. It's difficult. In this space of ours, in the beauty world, in the wellness, the fragrance, there's a lot of new startups, right? That's part of the allure of INNOCOS too, that you can be a company that's been around for 100 years or somebody that's just starting out new and you get the same input and the same feedback. Maybe you can connect it to your journey and what it was like to hear no several times, or keep it going, just knowing that you are focused on your outcome and where you want to go. Maybe you could talk a little bit to that.
Sure. Like I'm meeting a lot of startups in the conferences, because as you mentioned, we have like different diversity. We have like mature multinational companies, we have middle-sized companies, and I organize startup competitions. I like to help startups, and there are so many of them, so interesting ones. I give advice in the area of my expertise, let's say, because there are a lot of advices I can give, but let me focus on what I know the best, is about nurturing connections. Because sometimes I see the brands are focusing too much, new brands focusing too much on this special ingredient or formulation and things like that. And I feel like, they don't understand the big pictures, right? It's all about connections. Of course, primarily connections with your clients, building your clients' relationship, building your tribe, right? But there is also about team relationship, build your team. And the most importantly, as I think, is a community relationship. You need to have a good network within the industry. Why? Because this is where you can find mentors. This is where you can find advisory boards. This is where you can find a job opportunity when you need it, let's say. And you can find partners, you can find collaborators. There are so many things. It is so important. Sometimes young brands underestimate. They feel a little bit like they don't want to invest their time and budget into the good quality events, let's say, like INNOCOS. And if I have to give a little bit of tips how to do it, I think the conferences or any kind of community, being part of the community, this is how you build network, right? Because network is not like one or two people, it's like a bunch of people. Attending events is really one of the best ways, I think. So, and especially speaking, if you can get speaking opportunities there. So what you need to do first, very important before you go to the conference or to the event, do your homework, read a little bit about the speakers who are coming, find something in common so that it's easier for you to hold the conversations. Then during the conversations, when you meet these people, be helpful. And the secret is building genuine connections and not just transactional. Sometimes, people think about transactions, yeah, it's good, but you need to be helpful no matter what, and do not expect, let's say, anything in return. And after the conference, speaking at the conference, if you can get on a panel, then it's the best way for you to really to build your name and your brand and making new connections, let's say. And of course, after the conference, it's not the end. Make sure that you follow up with the most interesting people you meet with a short note or something like that, and stay in touch for maybe a few times in the year, right? Like I see our attendees are really staying in touch. I'm following them on LinkedIn, and somebody posted a message and I see that, a lot of comments are coming from the, people they meet. Like let's say the conference give me so much joy. So I really I try my best to help people to network and so that they can help each other, right?
You and I have that in common. So I'm the chief networking officer here at PIMS. So my job is networking and connecting people. You are a professional connector. And you raise a couple of really good points. One, the event itself is huge, right? But you want to do a little bit of homework before the event too. Find out who's going, find out what they're going to be speaking about. Certainly have your list of questions ready that you're intrigued about, that you want to get the answers, but get to know the person too that's giving this speaking engagement, right? What is their background? What's their history? So that when you get the opportunity to meet with them or discuss with them or have dinner with them or drink with them at these events, which often they allow in the networking time, you know what you want to ask. You're not just sort of pulling it off the cuff. And two, you raise a really good point with the after the event, right? Your job at INNOCOS and these other events is to connect these people in such a way that they won't forget that they've either been there or met each other, right? They're going to find that niche. But encouraging people to go ahead and do those type of follow-up, you'd think is something that you wouldn't have to do. But a lot of the people, especially ones that are just starting out, feel like, they've had their opportunity at the event and maybe that's going to be it. But your point is well taken. It's going to be what you make of it. And those next steps, you should already lock in while you're at INNOCOS so that when you make that call or send that email or reach out on WhatsApp or however you're going to be connecting with them, they remember you and they remember your message.
And be helpful. Be
Yes.
helpful.
Yes.
Find a way how you can help. That's it.
At these events, certainly at INNOCOS, you talk about new things that are happening. We talk about fads. We talk about the way the industry is being shaped, right? And having done this 30 plus years, I've seen, at least on the fulfillment and distribution end, there's been a lot of change, right? From the days where nobody sent out product samples to now that it's being very customized, right? And that's sort of the backbone of PIMS, and where we found our niche is the foundational support to customize these influencer sendouts. So that if you're sending something to Iryna versus you're sending something to Mike, they can shade match things, they can size match things, they can make the experience that much more customized, right? So talk a little bit to me about what fads you're noticing or new things happening in the marketplace that are coming down the pike, or what people are reaching out to you about, or what they're asking about at INNOCOS. Like what's going to be the next focus of our world?
Yeah, I would focus especially in like two things. It's technology and AI, and wellness and health and beauty and wellness merging together. So about technology, like I think we are living very special time where the technology changes the way how we do business so fast that I hear someone actually comparing it as like we are in a Titanic facing the iceberg, and we sort of realizing that the changes are coming, but we do not realize how big they are, and maybe devastating, maybe opposite, right? Because AI gives a lot of opportunity to the small brands and the big brands. Actually, I don't even know who is a benefit more, because small brands are benefiting from something like they can have several CFO, CEO, and CMO, sort of like ChatGPT acting as a CFO, a CMO, and things like that, and helping them with strategy. But the big companies have this opportunity to process these large amounts of data, which are so important. So I believe that this advantage is even bigger for the large companies. So I think nobody really know how fast and how far we will go with AI. So I don't want to predict. But the one thing I can predict and I can see is epidemic of loneliness is really spiking right now. And I even hear such AI solutions like AI companions. Someone said that one of the most requested or used services is not even ChatGPT, but AI companions, where you can have a dinner with like companion and you can change personality of this companion. I don't know, maybe it's interesting for a while, But I don't think it will solve all these mental issues and loneliness. I think you still need these human connections. And this is why I think our conferences and meeting face to face will always be there, no matter how far technology will go. And another trend is, of course, health is beauty. Finally, we realizing that, and I'm obsessed about biohacking. I am going to all biohacking conferences. I find interesting speakers who I bring to the beauty industry, which are not usually the beauty speakers, but I feel that since we are inspired by these trends, it's good to learn a little bit more about it, and it's good to practice. We implement some of the wellness rituals and sound baths and all kind of biohacks in between the conference. I think this is kind of like you have to not just talk the talk, but walk the walk, right?
Very, very well said. And I think we all got very used to the fact that being, when the pandemic hit and we were following through with that, being, displaced and at your home, people got used to the idea of not meeting in person or not having the ability to connect with people in the same physical space. Thankfully for you and for I, when everybody sort of came out of their homes again and were able to reconnect, these things really surged because everybody really missed the fact that is really what separates us, right? Like being able to connect on that type of build with that type of relationship connection. There's no two ways around it, right? Like it's almost like in selling on my end of things. Meeting somebody on Teams or through Zoom or a phone call is one thing, but having a drink or lunch, having dinner, meeting people out and connecting them one-on-one as a person, getting to know them, and then helping to solve their problems is really the differentiator. And that's where INNOCOS really does it better than the rest, is being able to do that. One of the things I wanted to ask you too was, I skipped over it a bit, but the event space, right? You do a wonderful job. As I mentioned, Iryna is not only the hostess of the event itself, but she sets up the space, but she also selects the different cities that they go to. And David Silbergleit and Ayla Anaya from our team will be attending Napa Valley INNOCOS, which is coming up in a few weeks. I know they had gone to Berlin. I did San Diego, and I did read on your website that Singapore is not too far. I'm very excited for the chance to get that. How do you come up with these spaces? Like, where do you choose the next city? How does the city itself sort of intertwine with INNOCOS and what you're teaching?
First of all, we like to get inspired by different places, right? Because for years we had K beauty trends, then G beauty trends, and this beauty, C beauty trends, and things like that. We did a couple of conferences in Seoul because it was so hot, and we went to like beautiful. We went to shopping. We see some like very nice flagship, Suwasu's flagship store, and we had nice conversations with where the American, European, and Asian brands and retailers met together. When we did the conference in Seoul, we reached out to all the big brands like Sephora, L'Oreal, some others. They're all sitting in Singapore. Yeah. So, and people were saying that, okay, come, bring the conference to Singapore. This is why we go to Singapore. We always, like Sedona, one of the destinations which I didn't know much. But when we were in the conference in Sonoma, I asked, where would you like to go next? And sometimes there's no always interesting destination, which I like filter, of course. But sometimes there are some great ideas. And I'm just picking it up, and I have agency who helping me out to find the best hotel because we want to have something special, right?
And then with those cities, it really plays into the fact that, INNOCOS is different each time you do it, and it's as different as the city is different, right? There's different speakers, and there's a lot of the attendees you see come back time and time again because the experience is just so wonderful, including the folks here at PIMS. But it is different each time too, because the different speakers are speaking on different topics. And like you said, intertwining that city and that experience of visiting that city with the conference itself makes it all that much more wonderful.
Yeah, we have certain group who come back again, and this is what it makes this community, which is so close and so welcoming, the new members. And I always make sure that I bring some interesting new members there, right? So it's a it's something which, you know, when you come to the conference, the community is already there, and it's just like welcoming you, and you become like part of the family, what this is, people say. And one of the things, if I may say, the very important part of the INNOCOS, especially our USP recently, that will take people outside of the big cities. We've done all the big cities, and we find, like, you know, when we did the conference in New York, people on the phone, offices calling, that it's very hard to keep them together and get them little bit like all together for the 2 days and not distracted. And this is why we go to the nice, beautiful destinations. We will make sure that the people are really like more in a relaxed mood, and we can spend whole 2 days with these amazing speakers. And this is, I think, one of the most important points of
I absolutely agree. We only got a couple minutes left here, so I wanted to get to our lightning round, which is really the PIMS minutes with Mike Staple. I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions. It's just one-word answers. I want you to tell me what pops into your brain first. Are you ready? Are you ready, Iryna?
You're ready.
Fiction or nonfiction books?
Business books, nonfiction.
Coffee or tea?
Tea, green tea and matcha.
Dogs or cats?
I don't own any animals. I love them both. I cannot choose.
Beach vacation or ski trip getaway?
Ski trip getaway.
Comedy or drama movies?
Comedy, for sure. Love a good laugh.
Are you a morning person or a night owl?
Morning.
Cooking at home or dining out?
I'm a very good cook. You don't know about that yet. I love cooking.
And pen or paper or digital notes?
Pen and paper. I like to write down. Of course, I look a lot of work a lot of on digital, and this is why, you know, I get overwhelmed sometimes. But I like to make a piece of papers, write down, and cross the things to do.
Iryna Kremin, thank you so much for joining us. You've been wonderful. The team here is super excited for Napa Valley. I know you're going to knock it out of the park once again, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Thank you for the props of the Minutes with Mike mug and the T-shirt, of course. You've been wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And yeah, it was fun. Thank you for inviting me.
Thanks again. Take care.